Peter Thiel's house.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So Eric Weinstein said, hey, I would like you to come to this lunch. We're going to do with Eric von Daniken. You know a lot about that guy's stuff. I'm like, oh, I know everything about that guy's stuff. Like, I've seen Chariots of the Gods like fucking 10 times. I've watched 100 interviews with this guy. He's like all in on the idea that UFOs created all this stuff and they're all flying spacemen. And
well, who created the UFOs? That's
a real good question. He doesn't have that information.
Yeah, that's the first question I would ask him.
But it's, he's a very nice guy. I don't want to say anything bad about him, and I really enjoyed Chariots of the Gods. It's a fun movie. It's like, have you ever seen it?
No.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's from like 1976. It played in the movie theaters.
I remember when it came out. Yeah.
What year is Chariots of the Gods? It's pretty old. But in it, he's all in on everything being evidence that UFOs were here and a lot of like real sketchy connections, in my opinion. I'm more inclined to go the Graham Hancock, Randall Carlson route. I think there was a very sophisticated civilization that existed. Like, what year? 1970. 70, damn. But I saw it in the movie theater when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
But I think that there's real evidence that there was a sophisticated civilization. The Egyptian pyramids are enough. It's just like whatever the hell was going on there. That was an insanely sophisticated civilization that existed 4,500 years ago at least, and probably went back quite a bit further than that. According to their hieroglyphs, it went back 30,000 years. And whatever was going on there was pretty incredible. And I think to just say that the aliens did it seems a little silly, because there's no evidence that the aliens did it. There's evidence that there was people around back then.
Yeah, it's the case of Occam's razor. The most sensible explanation is probably the most likely.
Yeah, but then there's also so many stories of us being visited in almost every ancient culture.
Well, is that like being visited or just the experience of being visited?
Are they the same thing?
Well, one would be physically manifest, and the other would just be manifest in the mind.
Well, I think a lot of people are starting to lean in this general direction of that perhaps we're trying to measure something that cannot be measured. Perhaps we're trying to like put something on a scale that does not necessarily physically exist, but also has the attributes of something that physically exists, or they can manifest something that physically exists, but it's kind of an illusion, and the whole thing is kind of going on simultaneously, interdimensionally, and that this is why we struggle with our definitions and our overall acceptance of even the possibility of it being real. I mean, I think most people, when you talk to them about UFOs, if they don't have any skin in the game, they'll tell you they believe in UFOs. They'll tell you that they think we've been visited because it's fun. But if you said to them, if you had to bet everything you have on the government has recovered crashed UFOs and that they visit us and they come from, the Pleiades star system and they've been here from the beginning of time, or there's weird conscious experiences, weird doors, portals of consciousness that open up that allow you to see things that might not necessarily be physically measurable, but also real. And that these things are what everybody's talking about in these ancient religious stories. These things are things that people are talking about when they claim they've been abducted by UFOs, then something landed, and even like the physical remnants of these crafts. All of it might be just a part of this very bizarre psychic experiment that's going on. That as the mind expands its ability to understand other realms, and as you have to think of, you don't have to, but the way I think of it is like, we didn't used to be able to see. So it was an emerging trait of single-celled organisms, no sight. If you believe in evolution, it goes to multi-celled organisms, eventually goes to sight. So it's an emerging part of being a living thing that you can see. then language. We didn't used to be able to talk. Now we talk freely. So there was an emerging thing, an ability that human beings had. And I think consciousness, psychic ability, precognition, remote viewing, all this stuff. For most people, that's a nonsense thought. But I think the thought is so prevalent in so many different cultures. Psychic phenomena is discussed ubiquitously in every corner of the world. And I think it's probably an emerging part of being a human being.